deeper. Yeah. If you survive and can see through the pain, it gets deeper. Virtue subtracts the day. If you can shine through the guilt and the shame, it gets deeper. It only takes one moment to change. You might be hurting, but you still ain't helpless. And the revelation carries way more than the message. It's more to that lineup, it's the mind behind.
What's up, fam? This is Dr. Ree. I'm in Ambassador Studios, hanging with Deeper Than a Cut podcast. You don't want to miss this week's episode on mental health, so make sure you listen up. We're going to drop a minute for your mind and an hour for your mind this week, so take a listen. If we want to get into the church and we want to talk about how the church says you're too blessed to be depressed, my friends, I have something to tell you.
Right.
Those are two different things. I am both blessed and depressed on some days. Let's just put it
Absolutely.
out there.
Absolutely.
So my awareness indicator, just like when you're driving down Jefferson and your little oil light is like, girl, did you put oil in this car? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Don't ask me that, because
That
that's
ding, ding,
that
ding,
ding, ding,
ding.
ding.
Yes.
It's our ding, 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 right?
It's
It's our signal. It lets us know maybe something ain't quite right.
It only takes one moment to change. You might be hurting, but
You might be hurting, but you're not helpless.
But you're not helpless.
Not
Keep it in the
helpless.
cut.
Help is on the way.
Yeah.
the sermon is learning to place value. Everything ain't what it seems. Cause sometimes
Top of the day. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Everybody, it's Deeper Than the Cut. We're back. We're back in the building. In the building. I'm your host, Mr. Halftime, and I got my guy over here. Yeah. Listen, we have a treat for you guys today. We have an awesome personality, character. We have a doctor in the building. Y'all. I don't know
Doctor,
if
you
y'all
need
ready.
some help?
We need some help. Dr. Riana Elyse Anderson, Riri.
Riri in the building.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Not a
Wow.
broken hand.
Not the broken hand, not the left hand. Look, I'm ready to get knocked out already. I need some help. But it's good. It's a good day to be alive.
Amen.
It's a great day to be alive, Smitty.
Hey, man, ain't nothing like today. And we ain't worried about tomorrow. We ain't worried about yesterday. All we worry about is today.
I'm worried about today. Today is the day.
Ain't no need to be worried. That's what I'm here for. We're going to reduce that worry on
Hey,
You
that
know,
stress, that
I knew she was-
anxiety.
And I knew she was coming too. I tried to do my little woosah, bring my mental state down. You know what I mean? That stress down, right?
Doctor, welcome to Deeper Than the Cut podcast. We're excited to have you in, and we're
Yes.
looking forward to this great show that we're going to have today.
Yes, thank you. Me too.
Yes. One thing I want to say right now is I don't know if she into sports or anything like that, but
What?
I
We talking
didn't.
about Riri.
Riri. I mean, I know we from the D.
Which
Go
one we talking
Blue,
about?
right?
All-Star? Which
Go
one?
Blue.
Are we talking
We
Jawan?
got a
Are we
few
talking
things.
All-Star? What you
Well,
want to
since the
get
last
into?
time I saw you, we got the Super Bowl, we have the All-Star,
All right.
you know,
what
like,
you want to get into?
oh man, that's what I
love
love. I love that. I love that. Well, okay, Super Bowl. Did your Detroit Rams win? Why we?
I mean, we
Oh,
can
man.
get started with, have I watched the NFL in 4 years, or have I been protesting?
Ah,
So that's
come
the
on.
first thing. we need to
Yeah.
determine.
Come on,
See,
You
that-
come
know,
on.
I'm feeling you on that.
Assist still on the
Yeah.
knee. You
All
know,
right.
I haven't done it yet. So
I
Okay.
feel that.
I feel
that's
that
where
too.
I'm at.
I
feel
missed
it.
the whole first half of the Super Bowl. I was at Target with my daughter. I wasn't even thinking about the Super Bowl. I ain't watched a full football game in
Man.
probably about 4
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
It's not that important to me as
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
as
yeah.
know.
It's not. It's
But that
so
All-Star game yesterday was pretty fun. That was kind of fun.
It's so weird. Okay, it's my favorite thing, but since the pandemic, sports has, like, because I'm typically with people,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
just reduced in excitement. So if I'm
Yeah,
sitting
I
at
got
home
you.
watching it, it's not
Yeah.
the same. But I did see Curry with the 16
Oh
trays.
my
I mean,
God.
Lights out.
what?
He was shooting
Lights
that boy
out.
yesterday like they was free throws.
He turned around with it. It's like he felt it.
He knew.
He was in a
He just-
zone,
I
man. That's that
love it.
zone.
It got to a point in time, man, where I said, man, so he got like a tracker on the ball or something to go in the net. Because it
Yeah.
was like he was just letting it go flying from half court and turn around like that's a bucket.
But
Yeah.
you know
can
what?
count that.
You know, we're going to get back to this, but we were talking when you cut my hair
Uh-huh.
so beautifully
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week.
I got
We were talking about lanes. And when
Absolutely.
when you know you're in your flow and
That's
you're
right.
in your lane, you
That's
can
right.
turn around because that thing is gold.
Hey,
it's done.
that's good.
It's done.
That's
You
a
know?
bucket.
It's done.
That's what's up. I like that. I like that, Reed.
That's
I like
good.
that.
That's good.
Well, we have here today a very astute wonderful, amazing. And I know she tries to get bashful about it, but the reality of it is you got to give people their flowers. When they put their work in, their time in, you got to be honorable enough to honor people that are honorable. And we have somebody that is honorable today. We have a person here and Dr. Anderson that has letters behind her names. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing she just off the cuff and thinking about. She's actually went to school for this stuff. And she's also
lot of
she put her time in, and then she's not just put her time in, she's also going back to teach it. She's an assistant professor at the great school of University of Michigan. Hey, go blue, go blue. Hey, I ain't wearing this by a mistake. I knew who was coming on here today. Go blue. And so she has been so astute to the mental health for so many for so long, and it's just a pleasure and an honor to have you here to speak about some of the things that we would need help with in our community, from generationally to, you know, from business, you know, things. And I guess if we can go ahead and just try and get into it a little bit to kind of speak from a mindset from during this pandemic. There has been so many things that has happened. Wow. So many ups and downs, so many losses, and that weighs on you in a way that, you know, you can't even put into words sometimes, but you can visualize it because you see people's anxiety, you see people's depression, and you see people at a mental state that's very fragile and almost at a breaking point, ready to give up, give in, commit suicide. What do you say in this season and time is the most important thing for mental health as it relates to not just the Black man, but for the community as a whole? Like, what do you say is the biggest help that will help with that mental health and anguish that's going on now?
Now, if you do know academics, you know, we talk. So you handed me a few things, and I was like, this about to be a 5-minute whole monologue.
Hey, this is your show. You on Deeper Than the Cup, but we here for Riri.
This for you.
You running this thing. That's why we here.
No, let me start by saying, as you were talking, one of the things that came to my mind is how I even came to you, right? So I was getting my hair done by someone for 8-9 years. I knew this man. Every time I would come home, if I wasn't living in Detroit, he would be the person I would go to.
Right.
Owned his own shop. And then, you know, the pandemic hit, and I was thinking about him, and we texted early on the pandemic, and he was okay, and we were chatting. And then a few weeks later, I was like, you know, I would normally be seeing him every few weeks. So I kind of kept my schedule of checking in on him.
Absolutely.
I didn't hear nothing by text. And I was like, all right, tried again, nothing. Called, nothing. I was like, something is not sitting right with me.
Right.
And I Googled.
Wow.
And the first thing that popped up was the obit, right? The obituaries, the first thing I saw, right? So when you're talking about business, right? And especially in an industry like y'all are in, where you're seeing people, y'all are a part of people's lives, right? Y'all are giving the therapy. Y'all are a part of the family.
We are.
Right? And so many people, I'm sure, who are listening to you feel that way, that they're a part of people's lives and business. So we're not even talking about it in a way yet that fully gets what I call this kind of 3D vision. We talk in a 2D way. We're like, this is how many people that died. My cousin died. Like, we're saying it very flat.
You're right.
But there's a 3D picture where there are relationships that people have.
That's right.
There are dynamics. And y'all, again, being part of people's lives for a year, we didn't know what was going on with anybody.
Absolutely right.
No one.
Right?
You're right.
We just didn't know.
Yes.
And it's going to be the case where, as people are starting their businesses back up, you're going back. You're not going to see somebody. You're not going to know
what's going on.
That's true.
What's going on. If they moved, if they passed, like, we don't know.
That's right.
That's true.
So short.
Yeah. So I think, I think it's important to start with the whole picture, that we're missing dimension and element sometimes when we're talking about it, and we're so like factual, we're so data driven. It's just like there's a relation that we miss.
Absolutely,
you know?
You're absolutely right. In our business, especially from being barbers, like you say, we get so close and personal with people, not just in their actual space, but we also get close in their family businesses, and you know, and personal, intimate, secrets and things that they tell, like psychiatrists and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you're their minister. You do so many things for them, and like you say, I reached out to one of my customers, just because I hadn't seen them, because it's deeper than a haircut. We cut hair, but we get deeper than that because we care about who we service and being around somebody for so long. And when I called him, he didn't answer. And he was an older gentleman, and I called him again. He didn't answer, and it begins to worry you because you start thinking like, I haven't seen him in a minute. I haven't heard from him, and I know I normally do. And just what you said, when I called him the third time, his sister picked up the phone.
Yeah.
And that was like, he always answered my phone call.
Yeah, man.
And to get the news that I got that he had passed away, it did something to me, and I didn't even know to what extent it would, and I didn't know how deep it was. But when you do hear that kind of information, it does weigh on you, and that mental anguish, it plays a role in your business as well. So, and even through this process, if you can help us, or to speak to the mindset behind losing not just friends, family, loved ones, but also losing your business on top of that. Because in the pandemic, a lot of businesses closed and never opened back up. And so that mindset, it's like I feel like I lost all the way around.
Yeah.
And what do you do at that point?
Yeah.
When you feel like giving up, when you feel like throwing in the towel, and feeling like it's not worth going on any further because you lost everything that you felt like, you work hard for and built relationships with, and they're no longer there. At that point, what do you feel like is the best action to go from there?
Yeah. You're talking about this idea of despondency, where you're just like, I'm going to throw a few big words and I'm going to walk it back, but despondency and like languishing. So you're in this middle ground where you're like, I've already spent my life savings to open this thing up.
That's right.
I've worked for years to get this space. I've done all of this prep work, and I was ready. And then it was February. I saw something, February 2020. There's something going on in China, but as for me in my house, like we're good. Everything is going here.
Yes.
People are planning everything. We at the top of this year. And something that I think is actually important was what 2020 represented for so many people. This year of perfect vision.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you were in the church, like 2020 was about to be lit. Everybody was like, 2019 was trash. 2020 is lit. It's vision. Perfect vision. Right. Everybody had the whole mantra. Right.
Ready.
Your vision got to open. All right.
Super ready.
Okay. So January and February, again, we're looking at what's going on over there. Oh, that's so bad. But I just finished opening, my business. I've invested every second, cent, sweat, everything that's in the
feeling.
Right?
In there.
Right. And then a year shut.
Everything happened.
Everything. So you're right. There's personal loss, there's community loss, there's financial loss, but there's this other piece that I am picking up when you're talking about that's like, how much of this is, not to say is my fault, but typically with a business, if it shutters or if it folds, you're like, what didn't I do? Right.
Yeah.
The pub, the promo,
self-analyzation. Absolutely.
Right. That analysis of self, I think, is so important here, where someone was like, I didn't do nothing. Like, this has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But that's still going to attack you the next time you want to open something up.
Absolutely right.
Yes, it does.
Right. And you're going to be in your mind like,
your mind.
What happens next? Like, am I going to be able to? So to try to answer the last question, which I know I didn't answer the first time, and then this one is around, what can you do? And I think for so many of us, there is this daily reanalysis that you have to engage in. You have to wake up every day and say, I don't know what's coming next. But I know me laying on this bed, on this couch, smoking, doing whatever, just wasting my day away. That's not what I was brought to this earth for either.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
that's low.
And that for entrepreneurs, that's what's so beautiful. Y'all are the ones that are gambling, much more than I am. So, you are really saying, do I take this gamble? But y'all have already done it. You've already demonstrated that you can do it. So you just have to re-up every day. And
that, if I could just
live by faith,
that's live by faith. And that's what we do. You said it in a nutshell. It takes that type of grind to believe in yourself and continue to get up every day, despite the pandemic, because how else are we going to eat? How else are you going to provide? you know, that mental stability is necessary in business because it starts there. Like, how can you see devastation and see that and still push past those barriers, right? And how do you get to the point where you say, not only am I going to make it out of this, but I'm going to persevere. I have destiny set on the other side, right?
That's right.
But a lot of people, they're not able to move beyond that traumatic, that trauma in their life. Because myself in 2020, I lost my dad. When we talk about losing on both sides,
that's right.
Just my dad and the restructuring and the stabilizing my mom without her husband, that's still right now. We're talking about 2020.
That's right.
With 2022, I was just with her this past weekend, and it's emotional times, and she's still having that rough time.
That's right.
Something that happened 2 years ago. And then I have to stabilize my mindset, right, for her, and then still get with Smitty and get in business and operate and do some things in business, but not just do it, but do it and give 100%.
That's right.
Like, what mindset, for me, what mindset does it take for that? You know what I'm saying?
I do. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes, I am ready. Yes.
Because so here's the thing about therapy, right? There is no one. Some people, for the past 2 years, I have done so much media, and people want this one answer.
Yeah.
And the beauty with therapeutic processes is the process. Because you're not just going to be able, I can't just say halftime. All you got to do is tell your mom this and she going to be straight.
Right.
No.
We wish.
We all do. We wish there was this magic pill, this magic seed, like whatever. We plant it, it's gone. It's over, it's done. So what you just said was that you needed to unpack some of this stuff. And that's the work that I'm in. Like, what I would encourage every entrepreneur to do, and this is every person. Y'all are talking about, Black male entrepreneurs, but every person. You've just gone through 2 years of trauma, and the key is it's not done. And people are trying to rush you to the normalcy or whatever.
Come on.
Right now, I work at the University of Michigan School of Public Health. I got data for days. That's why you see me with the mask. To this day. Like, I'm not rushed because I can see what's happening. But it's the same with mental health. I think it's a buzzword right now that people are really excited about. Oh, you got to watch your mental health. You got to know about this, which for the Black community, I'm geeked that we're using that language. Don't get me wrong. But there's a process that you go through. If you experience loss of any kind, if you're experiencing challenge or trauma, and we all have, frankly, in Detroit, we all have.
Absolutely.
Like, we all know somebody, right, who has past, left, whatever, like that's trauma. Or we have a vision that we wanted to achieve and didn't. We had a trip that didn't come to fruition. We had a graduation that we couldn't go. Like, something happened, right? Absolutely. Some tradition, some memorial, some event could not happen. And we were all like at a loss, right?
Absolutely.
That's a process. And so it's important to, in that daily re-up, in that daily taking off and uncovering, to have someone that you're confiding in and saying, this is how I'm feeling. Whether that's a journal for yourself. If you're the only one that you're accountable to, that's fine. Getting it down on paper, this is how I'm feeling today.
Yes.
If you have a weekly session with somebody like me, and for anyone who needs to know more about therapy, I'm happy to unpack and say like what that looks like.
Absolutely.
But it's a 1 hour confidential session with someone who is there just to listen to you and not put your business in the street.
Absolutely.
For you to unpack and say how frustrated you are.
That's important.
I can't run a Twitter, Instagram, nothing. I can't do none of that.
Wow.
I can't. And a lot of people think that it's me up here talking to you for 45 minutes. I'm sitting. 80% of the time is me sitting.
Wow.
And then I'll say, halftime, you lost your father and you've now had to take on responsibilities with your mom. How's that making you feel?
Right.
That's it. And then you get the spotlight. You get to unpack. You're taking off.
I'm taking
all this stuff, right?
Unpack.
Man, that's important. And
that is.
A lot of times people forget about what you talked about, the process of things, and want to jump to a snap answer and think that, like you said, we have some magic wand, you wave your hand and everything is supposed to get better because you said do this. And like you said, there's no broad brush that you can paint every situation with and come up with the answer that you're looking for. And I heard you talk about the process. What does that process look like? Because people are in the process right now, right? And in certain areas, they don't know what's the next move from the place and the process they're in. But coming from you, what does that process of healing and looks like coming from a broken place, from a mental state?
Yeah, there are a lot of theories or models about this, but one that's popping into my mind is talking about first acknowledging. So for so many people, again, when we try to hop over this pond, we try to, jump to normal, we just go into work. We don't give us the time to sit. Can you acknowledge the state that you're in?
Yes.
So that's step one, right?
I just want to
stop there
because, and the reason why I say that is because my wife, she lost her father in the same process of time, and what she did initially was she tried to go right back to doing what she normally do, and she didn't realize how much it affected her, right?
Absolutely.
And so, when you start trying to jump back into what you regularly do, as if, you didn't just go through a level of trauma or, a level of tragedy that's going to literally affect you. And I know the fact that she needed to recognize and come to grips with, like, I'm never going to see my father again. And like, that's something that you have to do in order to start the healing process.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the first levels of it, is actually acknowledging the fact that, what you're dealing with is true, is real.
Yes.
And in our community, and when I say our community, I'm talking about the Black community, we try and act as if therapists and it's not needed. Like you can handle everything on your own.
Right.
And a lot of times you realize that the therapist help you to acknowledge, to see the issue, so that you can begin to deal with it. Because before you recognize, you can never deal with it and begin the healing process.
I agree.
That's it.
That's
so I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's absolutely important.
That's good. And that is so true. If you don't, and that's, again, it's almost like this is my therapy session. Riri, it's almost like this is for me. I'm writing, I'm taking notes over here. Yeah. And I hope everybody, I hope you all are getting this. This is really helpful. It's really good. And but again, for me, it's also real, like every day.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. It's not once a month, once a week. You have to speak to yourself in these ways and acknowledge, and then you have to come to grips.
Yeah.
And put them together.
Yeah.
You have to ask these questions every day and make sure you are mentally stable every single day, especially for the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm my own accountant, life coach, motivational speaker. I'm my own pastor. I can preach to myself and have done it. I did it yesterday with tears in my eyes. I was looking for the offering plan too. I didn't get an offering plan though, but it's okay. But
I'm gonna sow that seed.
All right, thank you. God bless you. But Riri, Riri, I honestly though, that even now, when you talk about that word, I wrote it down, unpacking. My family, we about to go through that. I'm using this today.
Yeah.
No, seriously, because just sitting here speaking with you in this way is causing me to mentally unpack.
Yeah.
I have some things I want to say when I get home.
Yeah.
And that verbiage that you just gave, that tool, that nugget, if you will.
Told you she's a bad girl.
And I mean, some people will say just unpack. Okay, no, but I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
I'm very reservative, and so that helps me in such a way where I'm already better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already better right now.
Well, amen. Have time, but let me take you through a few more steps.
Come on,
we're gonna keep going.
Come on, let's go. Let's go.
So the first thing we have to acknowledge, and Smitty, you said this really well, where like sometimes we don't even know what we need to acknowledge, and especially I always say this for Black people, because I've been doing this work in the mental health world now since 2009. There's a heck of a lot of good reasons why Black people would not trust medicine or therapy. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
It behooves Black people, and has for years, not to unpack, not to complain, not to tell people what's wrong. Because if we go to the times of enslavement, where if you dare look up to say the sun is too hot, this bag is too heavy,
you're right,
you would be consequent.
You're right.
Right. So if we go historical, there's that. Then in the 1950s, 60s, you go into work, you say the hours are too demanding, you let go, and it ain't I bet you gone.
It's over.
Right. Then you fast forward to today, right, where you still have therapists who, which is why I'm in this industry training people, but you have therapists who will look at Black people and say they ain't really experiencing that much trouble or pain. Racism isn't a real thing. They're just complaining. So you have very real reasons.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. You mean to tell me within the profession of therapy, there are therapists that look at someone and you're supposed to be the help, the assistance to pushing someone to healing. And you mean to tell me that a person can come in and spill their heart out and you saying that there are therapists that say ain't nothing wrong with them, keep it moving?
Let me walk it back a bit because I don't want it to okay. Let me walk this back. There are people in every profession that feel this way. Yeah. And whenever we say, oh, I can't believe this person would feel this way or say that, we are all a part of the greater system of the United States that teaches us that race is not, it's both not important and is the, and right. It's like, it's both and like that you can, oh, race doesn't matter anymore. It's not a problem. And we are still going to treat people of this color a different way.
Yes.
Wow.
So it exists with therapists, with barbers, with police officers, with teachers. We could go down the line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So there are people, and sometimes it's not malicious, right? Yeah. Like, so I'm biracial. I tell everybody this all the time. The white side of my family often says colorblind stuff.
Right.
Like, oh, we're, a human race. That I'm like, no, your girl's hair curls when she walks out in the world. People see me a certain way.
Absolutely.
Right. Like I've been told explicitly the N-word, the be like, right. No, these things matter, right?
Absolutely.
So I say, I want to rewind on that to say there is great reason why in the past one may not have sought therapy.
I got you.
And now, particularly in the year of our Lord 2022, with all the trauma, stress, depression, and anxiety, suicidality, all the stuff, baby, you need somebody's therapist. So let's start to acknowledge.
Say that again.
Baby, you need somebody's therapist.
You need it.
So the first thing, the acknowledgement piece, maybe you don't even know what's stressing you out. So I don't even want to take for granted that that's an easy first step.
Right.
For
Absolutely.
people, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I say you want that daily accounting, the word I use all the time is data, right? Have you opened up a journal and then looked and said, man, a week ago, I said the same thing. I wasn't sleeping right. I wasn't eating right. Like, a month ago, I said, I haven't been sleeping or eating for a month. That's data. Right. You now know for a month. Yes. You don't have to guess. You could say for 1 month, I have not been eating, sleeping right.
Wow.
That's knowledge. And now you can acknowledge and say, okay, now I know. Then we would move you to awareness. So we want you to be in a place where that next time something bubbles up, you're like, that's my thermostat. That's like, that. I know.
Come on.
Right.
That's good.
That's good. I know that feeling.
Yes.
Right. So depression is a big one. It's something that most people experience over their life. If we want to get into the church and we want to talk about how the church says you too blessed to be depressed, my friends, I have something to tell you.
Right.
Those are two different things. I am both blessed and depressed on some days. Let's just put it
Absolutely.
So my awareness indicator, just like when you're driving down Jefferson and your little oil light is like, girl, did you put oil in this car? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Don't ask me that because that's ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
It's our ding, 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 right? It's our signal. It lets us know maybe something ain't quite right. So that awareness now says, now that I've acknowledged, unpacked, I see all this stuff that's around. My awareness is now letting me point to and say like, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's there. And I can start grouping. But maybe, and this is our final step. So acknowledge or knowledge. Awareness, I cannot. That's the ding 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 or the sensor.
Yes.
But
I like the ding ding ding.
Ding 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 ding.
That's the PhD language.
Yeah, I got you.
But the last thing is skills, and this is where again, when I talk about therapy, not everybody has their own individual skills. You have just said at halftime, you have to be your own.
Yes.
XYZ.
Yes.
And for so many people, that's the case. But for entrepreneurs in particular, you have so many skills you already have.
Sure.
But we outsource all the time. So going back to your car, going down Jefferson, when that thing goes ding, 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 I don't know what the flip I'm doing. I'm taking that car to somebody's shop, right?
That's right.
Somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right.
When our knee goes out, we do that. When our hair looks a hot mess, I'm coming to you, D, and I'm like, please help me out. Get in your lane. That's exactly it.
Yes.
Steph, shooting 16 threes.
Woo.
That's your lane.
That's your lane.
This is my lane. I've been studying this for 10 years. I've gone to all the Ivies, all the privates. Like, this is my lane. This is what I do.
Yeah, she's been on TED Talk, y'all. She's been on TED Talk.
TED Talk,
this thing.
CNN, PBS,
everywhere.
And Ambassador Studios. So,
that's what I'm saying.
So I'm here. But the skills that folks have can help you. And if we want to use that unpacking. So now everything's out. Now we start to organize and sense. And then for the skills, I'm like, what do you want to do with it? What you want? You want that to still keep burdening you? Do you want your floor cluttered with that? And you want to trip over it every day? You want to look at it every day? Jeez. Or you want to start putting that on a shelf or throw it away or burn it?
Yeah.
You want to like yell at it. But then what? After you do that thing with it, where do you want it to go?
Yeah.
So now your floor is clear.
Sure.
That's good.
That
is
good.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing,
notes,
man. I'm telling you, I enjoy that. I'm sitting over here laughing and just smiling because I can appreciate, and I really feel like there is some healing and some therapy really helping, even through these airwaves, to people that are going to view this at any point in time. Not whenever they view this, I think this is going to help them. And there's a couple other things. I know we have a few things that we have to do with our sponsors, so we're going to take a quick break for our sponsors.
It's Smitty from Deeper Than the Cut, and we're prepared to launch your business and advertise it on our platform. I'm telling you, it will be a great opportunity to grow your business. If you want to take advantage of that, if you go to deeperthanthecut.com, you'll leave a comment. We'll be sure to get back with you with the different packages that we have. But Deeper Than the Cut is the place that you want to advertise your business.
All right, we're back here at Deeper Than the Cut Studios, ready with our girl Riri Anderson, Dr. Riri Anderson in the building. Got them PhD, LCP. I'm telling you, she's amazing. She has already begun to help us on this show, and I'm telling you, if you missed that first part, you want to go back, rewind, and watch what Dr. Riri has talked about already. But I also, from an entrepreneur standpoint, you know, entrepreneurs come from all walks of life, right? And there are so many things that they deal with in business, but sometimes they deal with things before they ever get into business, something that they dealt with as a childhood from their early adolescent days, and they don't really realize how impactful it was until they encounter it, right? So like, you know, things could have happened to you as a child that was traumatizing, that was overbearing, you know, too much responsibility at a young age. You know, people overlook these things, but then when you get older, you start to feel the weight of it because you're like, man, I've been doing this so long. It's like now I'm feeling overwhelmed in a certain situation. And there are things that, you know, I've seen my mother deal with and I've seen my grandmother deal with. And sometimes you begin to accept things that you don't have to accept, but because that's what you saw so many times, it becomes the norm. And sometimes that norm is not good because we know that there are generational blessings, but there are also generational curses that we live under. And people walk around with it every day, dealing with it, dealing with business, dealing with family, dealing with their kids. They trying to keep the curse from moving past them, and trying to deal with that mentally is so crazy. What are some things that you would speak to about generational curses, because it's so real and prevalent?
Ooh, okay. Did you say this was church or not?
Hey,
come on with it.
No, I mean, I'm just wondering.
We can go to church. We can go to church.
Let's go.
Hey, that's part of me. You already know we in the chair. We in the chair having church all the time.
Listen, y'all are the preachers, and then again, I got a 10 somewhere down here. I'm gonna find. Listen, whoa, that is heavy, and as my grandpa would say, heavy. You know, it's just so many things that impact us. One thing that you said was the family and having that observation. And even more wild, there are things historically that impact us at a cellular level.
You're right.
We don't even see it.
You're right.
We haven't seen it.
Microscopic. You're right.
Not just microscopic, but our DNA literally responds to stress differently because of our lived experience. Not because we have a certain amount of melanin, but because folks who happen to have that melanin were asked to do certain things, and then their bodies are now responding to stress differently. Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Epigenetic cellular, impacts of trauma, right? All that fancy stuff to say you are not wrong, and typically observed things are that much harder to work out. And I love the way that you say it, because we see it and that becomes the norm.
Yeah.
But the norm ain't always good.
That's right. That's right.
Come on.
That's
the
what
norm
I'm talking
ain't always
about.
good.
It's not.
And so this goes back to what we said before the break. If you aren't taking time to slow down enough and say, I notice, I'm acknowledging, I'm aware. And so that's the acknowledging, my knowing.
Yeah.
I know that this thing exists. Sometimes people can get there and they're like, well, what can I do? And they keep going.
Yeah.
So then,
and that's what often people do. They try and push through
it. Push past it without dealing with it.
Absolutely. So then I've asked y'all, to go to that next step, awareness. When it shows up, how do I feel?
Yeah.
Does it feel good when I have to continue this trauma? And like you said, I love this point too. If I know enough that I want to stop it from continuing, why would I deal with it?
Yeah.
Why would I want to live with that?
Right. Yeah. That's right.
So you got to ask yourself, am I not worth saving? Right? Am I not worth good?
I'm worth it.
Come on. I will run.
I'm worth it. I'm bringing mine down right now.
Come on, Shonda.
It's a real place. It's a real trauma that oftentimes doesn't get dealt with.
Yeah. And it is around worth and value, right? So I think for so many people, they're like, well, it's already too late for me. Yeah. Or, somebody has already messed me up and maybe I just... No, you every day, baby. Man. Every day you are worth it. Yes, every day you have value. Every day you can wake up and improve the situation. Every day.
Absolutely. And you got to be careful not to allow people to define your value. Because if they define your value, then they can devalue you.
Preacher.
So you got to be careful who you give that power to. Right. So it's like that value is important, and to know it from the inner bowels of who you are actually helps to give you the strength that's needed. The strength that's needed for you to come and get through, it comes from within.
Yes.
You're like, it's good, like you say, to sit down and talk to a therapist to help you to unpack it, to help you to acknowledge it, to help you to become aware of it, and to even get it to the place where skills can be used to help you. But it's literally still going to take reread. It's going to take halftime. It's going to take you have to have something within inside yourself that's going to get you out of that pit of depression and anxiety as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's so true. And what he said is right. I need you. So until I'm able to talk to you, I consult with my pastor.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about him running me down or leaking that confidential, those emotions and things that I'm encountering through these hard times.
Right.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. We haven't spent a lot of time together, but I'm a workhorse. Like I'm very hard on myself.
Yeah.
My actions, my decisions. And so much time as the entrepreneur though, like in the field, I've been called crazy. I've been called a lot of things, Smitty, as well, because a person that an individual just 9 to 5, corporate America, they don't really understand what it really takes sometimes to really push past those barriers, not just push past, but then unpack and then acknowledge, and then all of these other things that needs to happen in that process, right? It's like 5 steps I got. Maybe it's more, but I'm giving y'all my current notes today. I just wrote this stuff down because I'm already applying it. Yeah. But so many days I use my pastor to and we be off church. I call him dad. It's not about church at this moment. I want to come to you because I have recognized something. It's like everybody has those secret demons, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like everybody have something that will withhold them and bury them in the sand and keep them from progressing in areas of life where they've been experiencing those generational curses from mama, daddy, granddaddy, great auntie, or whoever it is in that gene, in that line, that DNA. And so sometimes I do an excellent job. I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm going somewhere. I do a good job. I'm doing a good job.
Sometimes all you got is to encourage yourself.
That's all I have, right? But Smitty and Riri, some of my best moments though, this is where you are super necessary, because even in my best days, I find myself, at the end of the day, I said, man, I made it through the day. Whoa, let's go, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. And I literally do this out loud. I have to look around, make sure nobody looking. And I'm driving in my car. That's my sanctuary, you know? But then at the end of the night, I be like, I made it, but that was tough. I need to talk to someone. So even with me finding my strength to make it over, and my best day, I still need somebody.
Okay, now all right. Let me bring you in. We're about to do this real quick.
Okay.
Smitty, you work out?
Yes.
All right. How often?
Not often. I used to work out every day. I did some pull-ups this morning.
Okay, come on. Come on this morning.
I did this morning.
Do you, to my knowledge, the kines folks say not to work out the same muscle every day. Have you heard that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's like shocking the muscles type of thing, where you do something different, the body responds better if you don't wear that muscle out.
Huh.
Oh, I'm helping myself today. I got it real quick.
That's some psychology. That's some psychology stuff.
$50 when I leave. That's all I'm asking for. I got you. Yeah, man. Your muscles. Your muscles need rest.
That's awesome.
They need to restore, and the only way you improve is to give it that break, so that it can say, I have had the work, and now I need to restore, and now I go back to being worked. So one of the things that you're saying that all of us struggle with is working so much that we exhaust our muscle, which could be our brain, our body, etc., and we don't have that restoration time to then recover and then to do it again.
Yes.
So when we are thinking about, and I'm going to bring in one other thing we haven't talked about yet, but we're talking about the family, the generational stuff that Smitty talked about. We're talking about some of the stuff that's in our own head, right? That it's a track, and we have to be mindful of, like, what is the saying that we say a lot. For me, I kind of joke around, but I have this phrase that I throw out, like, "Oh, you're a horrible human being," like as a joke. When I say something wrong, or I think something bad, or like I cut somebody off, I'm like, "Oh, you're a horrible human being." That is a track that I am playing rent-free in my head that's telling myself that I'm no good.
Wow.
And like, why would I allow myself to say, even if I'm in joking mode, why would I allow myself to say that?
Yes.
I can say I made a mistake.
Yes.
That's a one-time thing.
Yes.
Or like, that was a problem that I need to acknowledge. That's one-time point versus I and my whole system of being in the thing.
Yeah.
But the one other thing we haven't brought in that helps that track to play and even connect some of the familial or generational stuff. We really, as Smitty said, listen to other people. And right now there is, in a way, like what social has done to us. The data on social is so clear.
Yes.
With respect to depression, anxiety, loneliness, it's self-esteem. It is so clear. I actually, and again, this sounds like a humble brag. It is not. I was on CNN talking about adolescents and their experience with social media when Facebook and Instagram got into some trouble a few months ago.
Yes.
Because our children are doing horrible.
Absolutely.
Horrible.
Because
All
of
caps.
this, with mental health outcomes.
Yes.
So I want to just be very clear that the message that we sometimes play in our mind can be picked up from other people we don't even know, leaving an anonymous comment that gets into your mind and jacks up your whole day. Wow. That then feeds back to some of the trauma you experienced as a kid, where your mama told you were no good. Like, all these things are connected, which is why we need to stop, because it's so constant. We have to stop and evaluate, what do I hear? What am I feeling? What is that track that's playing?
Yes.
And how can I work to erase the track? Like, it's not a good track no more. I need to throw that out.
Yes, absolutely.
It ain't good. It's not serving me.
It's not working anymore.
It's not working.
You got to realize it's an 8-track. We don't do the 8 tracks no more. It's outdated.
It's a CD. You throw that out the window.
Take it out.
Take it out. You know what I mean?
Man,
yes, I do.
It's scratched.
It is so crazy. This conversation, and I say crazy in a good way, because I'm serious, man, because it's important, because a lot of times it's overlooked you know, some of the things that you deal with. And sometimes it's just not acknowledged, as you said. You don't realize it because you never took the time to just wait. And when I say wait, just think things through and systematically go over what you're dealing with. And you said something, Riri, that really piqued my interest, and it began to make me begin to think about myself, because over these last 2 years, I think I may have taken one vacation or two vacations.
Exactly.
And I used to take literally 4 full vacations a year.
That's right.
And 4 getaways.
That's right.
A year. Every year, me and my wife would go, and you realize how important rest is, because rest, and me and my pastor always say rest is a weapon, right? Like, so when you get the mental rest and you get your physical rest and your spiritual rest, and you get everything that you need, and you're ready to come back full Riri. 100%. Not half cock, half time. You know what I'm saying? Right. Seriously, because 100%. When you half cock, I can still do a good job, but it's not my best.
That's that right there. I want everybody to pause on that. Just because you're functioning,
that's right,
does not mean you're full.
That's it.
And that is when we're talking about therapy. Woo. That is literally the word that we talk about, is what's your functioning? What's your level of functioning? We know a lot of people who can function on being exhausted, being inebriated, being high, being like in all these states.
Absolutely.
We know people in all these states that can function, that look like they are functioning. Right?
For years,
for generations, right? Yeah. So that's so critical. Wow. And I want to use a quick, if you haven't noticed, analogies are my thing.
Good thing. That's why we brought you on.
Yes, that's great.
So, it's one thing about me, I travel a lot, especially when things are normally at a normal space, whatever normal means anymore, like I'm traveling a lot. So I'm in the middle of 7 weeks of travel. Like I'm about to be traveling every day for the next 7 weeks.
We got her in here before she started. We got it. We got a hold to her.
How were we able to do that?
I was promised M&Ms.
Well, we got your M&Ms. We give you the whole bag.
The whole bag. Look at that. Come on, God. So
you're about to start traveling.
And so I'm like you, I'm a traveler. Sometimes it's vacation, sometimes it's work. Yeah. But one thing that I'm always thinking about, and this goes back to a college memory of mine. I had a Sprint flip phone back at a University of Michigan.
Don't tell your age. Don't start.
Come on now. They thought I was young.
They ain't gonna know nothing about the flip phone, the analog system.
That is when your phone used to like fold and
That's a dinosaur now. A dinosaur.
And this story is even more dinosauric. So I was like, my phone was acting up, and it was probably hot and on fire as it used to be with Sprint phones. But I was so confused. Like, why is my phone not working? And I called Sprint, and they were like, have you shut it off in a while? Yeah. And I was like, what you mean? Because at that point, we were already learning that cell phones can be on all the time.
Right.
So I was like, no. And then I did, and it worked just fine. So let me fast forward then. Whenever I vacation, one thing that I think about is having to cut my phone off when I get on planes. That's the only time in my life that my phone gets cut off. And because of the pandemic, that junk did not get cut off for almost a year because I wasn't flying.
Right.
That meant that anyone, and we just talked about this, anyone who wanted to get in touch with me at any time of day could text, tweet. I was contactable all the time.
All the time.
And so I was this phone on all the time until I said, we have to take a break. We have to stop. We have to restore. We have to recharge. I'm going to cut off.
Yes.
And so traveling, even as much as it taxes me, reminds me every time I get on that plane and they tell me to shut my phone off, I'm like, I have to recharge. This is that time. This is that moment.
That's big.
And so many of us for a year or two, some of us still aren't traveling, right? Which I, totally respect and commend, because folks on planes are acting a monkey right now. But, I have to say that for some of us, being in that home, they have not felt like they could rest for years now.
Yes.
Right. That's right.
Jeez.
That's right.
That's
huge. That's so true too. And I'm gonna be honest. That's a place where, like, I'm like Smitty, I travel, but since that time, with so much that creating that new life, because as you just said, what is normal? We don't even know what normal. We say normal, but now is this normal?
No.
Like, will we ever go back to what we call normal?
Yeah.
Or is this the new normal, or whatever normal is? It's like the place in your mind you have to be able to create those new memories and be creative in such a way. Because even for the entrepreneur, even myself, life was different. Yeah. And June that same year, 2020, we were allowed to come back to work. 2020, June 15th, it was on a Monday. I never forget it. Yeah. And everything we did, how we functioned, how we operated, totally different. Everything was totally different. And it didn't mean that you couldn't be successful. It just means that you had to move beyond what we thought was normal. You know what I mean? Adjustments had to be made. Yeah. So we needed, if I can preach for a minute, we needed that shutdown for 3 months. Come on. We had to flatline. We had to flatline some stuff. I'm talking to you. You have to flatline some junk sometime in order to get ahead. Some things have to stop so that when you recharge and refresh or hit that restart button, you're stronger than ever.
Ready.
Yeah, now I'm back. I'm back, everybody. Hey, it's deeper than the cut. Hey, Riri, I'm charged now. I'm good. Listen, I'm straight now. I'm good.
But good. I mean, just let's go back to that for a second. The March, like you said, these dates, right? March 13th or 17th, depending on what day.
You don't forget them.
You know, to the June. Remember the sounds of the birds that you
heard.
Oh
my goodness, yes.
Remember this, like, I live close to Jefferson. I didn't hear the cars zooming.
Yes.
Remember the air.
Yep.
That those animals were like, "Oh, we good? We can come out now. We can play." That type of restoration for the earth was the first time LA smog was down in like 30 years. It was the first time the ozone layer was gonna, revert. It was all these things. The earth was coming back to herself.
Yes. We needed it.
We needed it.
And
it's, everyone said it at one point. We needed this shutdown, but I really don't know how much we carried that with us 2 years later.
That's good.
To remind ourselves, like, you don't need a full out 4-month shutdown, but that phone does have to
analysis though. We need that.
You need a week vacation. You need, and it don't have to be getting on a plane. That's the thing. I think so many of us are like, we have to make it look like it used to. No. Drive an hour to another city, get a hotel room.
Sure.
Cut that phone off.
Yes. It helped.
That's it.
My back, I have certain things, how we have hazards. Holding those clippers all day and teaching back and forth from the school, teaching, functioning his business outside of barbering and at the school, myself as well, and creating new businesses, obviously. But at that time, my body needed that shutdown.
Yeah.
Like my finger, I have a bad finger. It's a finger that it's just the way I do my thing.
Work
hey, Mr. Doc, listen now. Doc Reed.
Yes, sir.
Listen, the way you look good, the reason why you look good is it ain't just the guards and the clippers, it's them hands.
Okay.
It's those hands. Sometimes we do some things with our hands that may not be, ethical to a person that don't cut. They be like, why you do that? That seems like that's uncomfortable. But you like that look though, right? So there we go. And so in that shutdown, my fingers, my back, everything started. You said earth was coming back to itself. My body was beginning to recover.
Yes.
In such a way, my skin and everything, the birds and everything that you just elaborately just explained is so true. And now I can see myself needing just a time to unpack, organize, clean the floor up, and acknowledge, my skills. Oh, I got them. I'm good. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm gonna help y'all. I got some nuggets for y'all now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And before we get into our last piece of the segment, we're gonna hear from our sponsors one more time.
This is Motor City, and being from Motor City all my life, I felt like it's the perfect opportunity to bring out a product that has the identity of what Detroit is made of. It's quality. So this product, Swirl Curl, is all natural with 70% organic content. Reason being is because there's so many unnatural products on the market for barbers. This product, Swirl Curl, it starts off as a 3-piece kit, which number one is the Swirl Curl Beard and Facial Wash. This wash is so wonderful. Women actually actually are showing so much energy behind this product. The wash is simply to remove all of the dirt and all of the debris from beneath the skin surface and out of the hair. Now you implement the beard oil, which is of course, we use the oil as the nutrition. That is the protein that you deposit into the hair after you've washed off all of last week's, all of yesterday's dirt debris. Then you use the beard balm. It's a conditioner. It is a protector. It makes the skin soft. It makes the hair smooth. And this kit is just phenomenal.
What's up, everybody? This your boy Terrence Hobson, also known as, Mr. Halftime from Deeper Than the Cut podcast. What's up? Listen, swirlcurl.com is the place where you purchase these awesome products. 70% organic, 30% natural, men, women, children, no gender preference, no age preference. And you can go to swirlcurl.com for these awesome products. And that's Swirl Curl, SWRLKURL.com. You can also purchase haircuts. You can also schedule haircuts. You can also take a tour, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the products. Please let me know. I'm owner and founder, Mr. Halftime, Deeper Than the Cut. All right, everybody, we're back. We're back from our break. And if you guys are not paying attention, you're not listening, you need to hit the rewind button. If you're distracted and someone is talking to you, texting, tweeting, Snapchatting, TikToking, you need to turn the phone off. This is a topic. This is a nugget. You're going to have to turn it off so you can refresh. You understand?
Get your mental right.
We in the building right now with Dr. Riri.
What up, dude?
Ms. Anderson. I got Smitty in the building.
Hey, man, we didn't even say she from Detroit.
And she from the D.
She from the D.
Oh,
you heard that?
man.
What up, though?
She from the D. That's even better.
Riri
Surfer, baby.
Dr. Riri from the D.
We in the building. And this is good opportunity to share some love. I just before you go, because time is short, but I just want to thank you personally, in front of everybody publicly, and just want to thank you for coming on and everything that you, all the nuggets you brought, all of the skills and the list of things to do, and how you keep your mindset focused and how to unpack and keep going and push through hard times. Okay, I just want to personally thank you. Now,
thank you.
Okay.
We're going to give you a chance to give us some last little bit of nuggets before we actually get ready to close out, because we're looking forward to hearing from you, this last piece that you got here.
Yeah. I think, honestly, it just ties together so much of what we talked about today. So a quick way that I think about your week. So we've talked about all the things that come up and all the momentum that is going to make it seem like you don't have the time to stop. So you have 168 hours in a week. Mm. You need to ask yourself if you're worth one of them. That's the question. As a therapist, that's what we ask all the time. Are you telling me that you don't have 1 hour out of 168 for yourself to unpack, right? To do the work? Mm-hmm. It could be scary. It could be frustrating. You can have whatever feeling you can have toward it. But going back to this question of value and worth, are you telling me you're not worth an hour for yourself? Wow. That's a question that we ask all the time. And again, you can think of it as a therapist. You've mentioned your pastor multiple times. You can think of it as, a best friend, but be mindful that different people have different skill sets.
Sure.
So mine will absolutely assure the confidentiality, all of these various aspects, a focus on you. So just be mindful that you'll get different results with different people. Absolutely. But I want you to think this week, do I have 1 hour that I could devote toward my wellness? Wow. Whatever way that looks.
That's good.
Right?
If anybody was looking to try and find you, Riri, how can we find you on social media or your website, or give us some of your ways to look you up? Yeah.
So you can find me at Riana Elyse. I always say if you have two hands, it should be enough letters for each hand. So RianaElyse, RianaElyse.com. And I'm Riana Elyse everywhere.
Wow. Okay. That awesome. Is amazing, man. I really enjoyed this show. And as we get ready to close here, we want to make sure we at Deeper Than the Cut and Ambassador Studios really appreciate you coming by and helping us out to get some of those helpful nuggets that are needed in every realm of life. But because we deal with entrepreneurship, we wanted to make sure we tied it to that. And you are absolute help today. We thank you.
Wow.
We honor you. You actually are the first lady to come on to
First
Deeper in the
Lady.
Cut. So we call it your name, First Lady, when you come on here now.
First Lady. First Lady.
So as we honor Rihanna, we want you all to make sure that you go on to deeperthanthecut.com. We want you to go on to YouTube and follow us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Come on, y'all. Push the button.
Push the buttons,
how much you appreciate it. Leave a comment. You can find us on Instagram at DTAC Podcast.
Yes.
DTAC Podcast.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you, it's a wonderful thing. There are some great things going on here Deeper in the Cut, and we thank you all for tuning in, and we are out for today.
Peace out.
Salute.
Salute.
Deeper. Yeah. If you survive and can see through the pain, it gets deeper. If you can shine through the guilt and the shame, it gets deeper. It only takes one moment to change. You might be hurting, but you still ain't helpless. And the revelation carries way more than the message. It's more to that lineup. It's the mind behind, son. Over your mind, you realize.
You might be hurting, but you're not helpless. But you're not helpless. Deeper in the Cut.
Help is on the way.
Yes.
Peace is nice, please. It's like Chinese diets on peas and rice. Righteous, you see my sight whenever I